This news update is brought to you by
This is the Noon Barbados Today update for Thursday, July 10th, 2014. A warm welcome to you. I'm Kmar Jordan. Good afternoon. Ridiculous and offensive. That's how former Prime Minister Owen Arthur is describing suggestions from Finance Minister Chris Sinclair that citizens need to first pay the municipal solid waste tax and then apply to him for relief. Mr. Arthur says the Finance Minister is making light of the fact that many simply cannot find the money to pay what he describes as an onerous tax. In response to appeals made in recent days from various interest groups for relief, Mr. Arthur is now proposing that there be an alliance of the vulnerable to force the government's hand on the issue.
They are members of organizations. The organizations should come together and form an alliance and put an alliance in place to plead on behalf of the members that their membership would face undue hardship in the weird sense because they start with being disadvantaged to begin with. And I'm talking here about the bar, the churches, all the special interest groups that represent people with special disabilities and whatever else. And really, that's really the real hardship, undue hardship, because of undue hardship is new to us. But those institutions can't pay, their members can't pay.
Mr. Arthur, who's been busy this week compiling and submitting relief forms on behalf of his constituents, revealed that requests are also coming from abroad. This is from people who he says own property in Barbados. But he says many of them feel they have a legitimate case for exemption since they're not generating garbage on their properties. Meantime, a top trade unionist has acknowledged concerns surrounding the tax. In fact, Dennis Clark says it amounts to an additional burden on the workers. He's also raising concern about the way the Sanitation Service Authority is operating.
Nobody is looking at the fact that you got Sanitation Service Authority out there farming out the work to private individuals. Nobody is looking at the sanitation want at least something in reason of 15 trucks to have to improve the garbage collection and sort of things. You got what you call them, mechanics sitting up there in the workshop. Can't do anything because they ain't got no powers in which to fix the vehicles. And this country is being given the impression that those persons, are incapable of fixing those.
In other news, Principal of the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, is defending his campus's recent study. The report, which pitted university education as a major economic contributor ahead of the sugar and rum sectors, has come in for heavy criticisms from some government ministers. But Sir Hilary maintains that the study was meant as information for its stakeholders, who he says have a right to know how their money is being spent.
You would imagine, therefore, that that information should have been welcomed with enthusiasm. And you would have imagined, therefore, that a rational response to that information would have been, okay, well, if that is true, how then can we use the educational infrastructure to promote further foreign exchange earnings, to promote more economic growth, and to help us to build the potential for our flight out of poverty? You would imagine that would have been a rational response.
Some crop over news now. All Stars, Calypso Tent and The Big Show will dominate this year's Pic-O-De-Crop semi-finals. 5 Calypsonians from both tents will compete against 3 from headliners, 2 from the experienced Calypso tent, and 1 from the House of Soca. The picks are the All Stars, Aziza, Cher, the announcer, Donella, Kid Sight, and Miguel. They'll meet Adonijah, Biggie Irie, Classic, John King, Mikey, and Serenada from The Big Show. The headliners tent has Adrian Clark, Blood, and Crystal Cummins Beckles looking to reach the next level. as two are Apache and Billboard from The Experienced Tent. The lone semi-finalist from the House of Soca is Sammy G, with Colin Spencer as a reserve from the headliners. The semis will take place next Friday at the Garfield Sobers Sports Complex. I'll be there. You should be there too.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
To the regional news now. One of Trinidad and Tobago's trade union umbrella bodies is warning of a long, hot summer ahead if the government does not revoke an injunction against some of its members. Last week, the industrial court granted an injunction preventing public servants employed at the Immigration Department from walking off their jobs on the grounds that national unrest was being threatened. National interest, that should be, was being threatened. The workers are concerned about poor working conditions. But President of the Public Service Union, Watson Duke, is demanding that the government revokes the ban immediately or things could turn ugly. Internationally, tragedy hits the Houston area today after a man shot and killed 4 children and 2 adults. A 7th person, a 15-year-old girl, the lone survivor of the incident, is said to be in critical condition at a local hospital in Spring, Texas. The 34-year-old man was arrested after a 3-hour standoff that followed a short chase with sheriff deputies, and he's being held on charges of capital murder. Well, on that sad note, we end our noon update, but you can be sure to join us again at 6 o'clock this evening. Until then, you can log on to www.barbadostoday.bb for the very latest in news and sports and information. Or you can like us on Facebook or subscribe to our e-paper. I'm Kmar Jordan. Have a great day.
This news update is brought to you by